This portion here is about statements made by OriginalBee, or TheOriginalBee, sorry. This is a WordPress blog post that is available. I will leave in the link in the description if you want to read that and check over the evidence for yourself. So what we can say for sure is that this OriginalBee was definitely one of the voice actors for My True Feelings. So we can see, if I switch over to my desktop here, that this blog post includes a screenshot of what was the YouTube channel for DrApeis before they had to change it, or before they changed it. So you can see here, let me scroll right there. You can see the OriginalBee. I know, not sure who that is. And we have someone named Captain Alabama that made the music. And see here, Shortcake was one of the artists as well. So we can confirm that. We also can scroll down here to look at screenshots. Again, you can look for this for yourself, but screenshots showing that she was scouted out by DrApeis, and that then she agreed to be the voice of Bo-chan. So we can move on to some questions I had specifically about Zade. So Zade, if we can just Control F here, first mentioned in this document, Xaid, was a actor on the team that was promoted to manager. Now what's interesting to note here is one of his first days as manager, he wanted to ask about making money. However, we do have an official statement from Love Letters themselves, from DrApeis. They want to keep the game free. I mean, even in here, we even see this is because of the statement DrApeis made about thinking the game for free. So he seems like DrApeis has always intended to be free, and disagreed with Zade about continuing development of whatever sort. So I can respect that. Cool. It's great that we have some agreements here. I enjoy that because that means that there's some common ground that we can work on here. So moving on, we're going to talk about inappropriate jokes that Zade apparently made. So some of these are sexist apparently, some of these are supposedly racist as well. So it's here. So we can see here, so we can see here that he made apparently cutting people off. So he apparently was rude in calls, and made people uncomfortable. In a different call, apparently he made jokes, a racist joke about Asians eating dogs. Now, this is my personal opinion on this whole thing about jokes about Asians eating dogs. I am, as you can see, of Asian descent, and I've heard that joke a lot. I mean, it's not uncommon if you are of East Asian descent that you hear that joke. And I personally think that I've become kind of jaded about it. Like, it's like, haha, yeah, it's a thing. I don't find it that offensive personally. But if that's how B feels about it, that's how she feels about it. I can't really put it against her, but it's just that I feel like maybe that was just a point to make. Like, this is, again, my personal opinion. I feel like this was a bit of a petty point, but that's just my opinion on things. And roping in the whole coronavirus pandemic, like, I understand there have been cases of people being targeted because they look East Asian and this whole thing. Like, but personally, I think these cases are very minor. There's not been I think things, reports and news things about incidents of hate crime, they're a bit more overblown than they should be. But that's, again, my opinion on that kind of thing. So we can say that it's one of my favorite jokes, I guess. But I've been jaded to it. So we're going to scroll down and we talk about that Zade was definitely kicked, and we can see more of this screenshot here by DrApeis himself. They made a poll on the server, what was the official server, about if they want him back or not. But at the end of it, if you scroll down here, he was not let back in. So they apparently had no communication from everyone else. So someone made server claim they were making official manga. Now this is a bit unrelated, I feel, but we have Zade apparently still being in contact. So I don't know for sure. This is conflicting against John's statements earlier, saying that they've distanced themselves. So I'm not sure what kind of truth. Maybe this was just in the past that they were still keeping in contact, and at this point, John's statement might be true in saying that they've completely distanced themselves away from Zade. So after that, we're gonna go. They're talking about Roman here. So Roman was a voice actor on the team. Oh, let me just. Whoops. Roman is one of their managers that stepped in after Zade left. Now, I had a lot of questions, actually. I want to mention this. I questioned a lot of this stuff to Outset as well. So I asked about Roman taking over after the departure of Zade. In this blog post, they also mentioned Roman expressing aggression towards another person named Stanpai. And then there's claims that B's voice was used without her permission. So I'm wondering if there was, actual permission, because in screenshots that B you will see provided, it sounded very apathetic of her, apathetic on DrApeis's part in saying, "Oh yeah, I'll just use your voice without your permission." So we'll see more about that later. And there's one other last thing I questioned Outset about that B stated. We'll see later on. It was regarding Shortcake being doxxed, and so we'll address that when we get there. There was a strikes system, so that's gonna be strikes, that B was not aware of. She was contacted by people about that kind of thing, and it seems like Outset was not aware about these strikes. I can scroll up. There was interaction with Outset. Here we are. So now apparently Outset was not aware of strikes. So infractions might have been from other team members. You'll see around here. And then now there's a problem that comes about sexual content, including Roman. So if we go here, Outset saying seeing enough is not allowed. It did come in the server anyways, and Roman changed commands to things that were very, suggestive. If we let's see, yes. So there's this content here that does look like suggestive, not safe for work. This here as well. Now, I understand. Yes, if you're 16, it is. You're definitely can be considered underaged for sexual content. However, I would be a hypocrite if I said that I definitely accessed that before I was of age. Hypocrite, yes. So I don't. But if Roman himself was posting that kind of content, I don't see an issue. But maybe that it should have been steered away from that kind of content. So it's really up to maybe I want to say it would have been up to the moderators, the people who are running the server. They should have definitely steered away from that kind of thing, knowing that they had a minor within their ranks. I had answers about Roman here. So Roman definitely was a manager. It looks like he did step down relatively recently. I don't know exactly when, but they didn't replace Zade. But also Outset was kind of a co-manager at the time. I got an answer again about the aggression. So it seems like Roman already had issues with Stanpai, but apparently Roman was the only one that had problems with him. So it wasn't just like a one-time thing. And I got an answer about B's voice use. Now, her voice was used. Now, apparently it was used with her permission, and it was just that title change video that was removed there. So we can continue on here. So apparently it was not targeting Stanpai, and they wanted to remove the title video due to work done by B and Shortcake not being represented of the future project. So I was heard about that. I asked if there was any way to prove that they used B's voice with her permission, but they could not find any. So I unfortunately cannot substantiate exactly if it was true that her voice was used with her permission. This screenshot, it's near the bottom of this whole post here. This is asserted that Outset Isle was victim blaming Shortcake for being doxxed. And I did answer, I asked, as you saw earlier, I asked Outset Isle about this situation, and her statement against that was that she did not victim blame, and they advised her against continuing on with that kind of thing. And so in this context, she wants to say that she was saying that she was helpless in helping if someone was doxxed or not, which it makes sense. I don't know if someone I knew was doxxed. Well, it's out there. I can't really undox someone unless I just delete the internet. So it kind of makes sense there. So one final thing here. This was the actual statement here talking about the doxing and how she tried to settle things with Shortcake, and there's another user, Calixta, that was the moderator for their conversation. Now, there's one last thing I do want to note. It's the very bottom of that blog post. B statement said that Shortcake was kicked specifically for leaking stuff. Now, let me just do Control F again, because I am bad at. Shortcake kicked off the team entirely when DrApeis was telling that they told Cameron about the truth. So, meaning the misconduct or abuse that was happening in the server. The devs and moderators and managers refused to listen to Cake's side of the story or anything that they had to say. Admittedly, I did take part in egging Shortcake to leak screenshots because I believe Cameron had the right to know the truth about rating of his video, especially after he found out that DrApeis sent Cameron's apology video to the team in order to ridicule him. Even if Cameron was found to be faking screenshots, no one deserves their channel to be rated like that. Shortcake has screenshot the conversation they've used before the ban. So we can see that here. This kind of goes back to my personal definition of what constitutes a raid. But again, it's up to individual interpretation, and that's where problems are arising. And I think that more than anything, this team or former team members need to actually speak to each other again for better understanding with a neutral moderator. And I'm gonna say this right up. I don't think I'm a good moderator. But they definitely need someone to moderate conversations between them to resolve things. So we're at the near end of the video here. This is the final section here. I'm gonna bring up some tweets that are relevant to the situation that came out in the days that have followed ever since I have been looking this up. Bochan feelings or love letter confessions. They are revoking ownership of rights. So now, what's interesting here, all asset volunteers are now part of love letter game. Now, this I think is a non-statement or evidence by confessions, because, like I said earlier, with collective projects, you do forfeit your rights when you're working on a project like this, because it's collaborative. You no longer just have individual rights to it, unless somehow you were able to sign a contract saying, yes, we're using this for this project, but you also still own the rights to this kind of thing. Again, I think another problem is legal. They didn't maybe go through legal means to make sure that they were able to use the character. So this, I don't know, is an interesting statement, but just by word of mouth, or in statements, you do not own anything or assets anymore after you submit it to a collaborative project. You still collectively own it, but you don't have exclusive access anymore. So now another one is a statement made by a former moderator. It's not part of, again, this is all statements. This is part of the apparent abuse and misconduct. I won't read this, but I'll leave the link in the description for you to read. And then we have because they did change the character to a new one I don't remember the name of, we have a statement from Shortcake saying that they are happy that they did remove the character. That's all they wanted. But I don't know if it's worth. I don't know if this is all they wanted. It was worth, bringing out all of this other stuff. But maybe it was. Maybe it is if this claims of abuse and misconduct are true, right? So there we got a statement from Shortcake there. Afterwards, the statement made by DrApeis himself. Apparently, this is apparently a screenshot from Discord. Kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Retorting or refuting things. So Zade was definitely removed for sexual content or comments. Shortcake was removed for leaking information. So it goes back to what I said earlier that B was apparently Shortcake was being removed for leaking things about the project, as in misconduct or whatever, and not actually anything that would compromise the project, as in like details. And there's a new statement about NDAs, so that makes sense about leaking things. So he will continue working, and then they do not want. So he does not want ill will against anyone else. So again, this is what I'm saying: do not harass anyone. Okay, don't do that. That's bad. Do not raid. It's bad. So that's a good statement that I can get behind. And one final statement that actually came out, because this is kind of relevant to partly what Cameron has made in his video, Cameron 305, is that he did mention that DrApeis had an old alias. So he was NarwhalsAreFalling. He did work on older projects, being Heartbreak, and if I believe it was also Watashi no Mono as well. But for sure Heartbreak. We can see here he was definitely part of Heartbreak. Gotta thank you guys for sitting through this series of videos or this whole video. I'm not sure how I want to release it right now. But this is all the information I have in regards to what is public, and I will leave anything that's public in the description below. And I don't know how I want to source my stuff so that you guys can see it, but if you want to, just let me know about that kind of thing. And so if anyone else wants to come forward with information, again, my DMs are open. I just want to switch back to that. My Twitter handle is available for whatever you want to do. If you want to message me about more stuff here, that's exclusively what I want my DMs to be open for. That's just more information on it. So please reach out if you have information or clarification that you want me to provide. So there are definitely things that I've covered that might need more clarification. So if you have anything you want me to maybe ask the confessions team if they can actually provide it, or even the love letter team through Outset, please leave a comment below. Thank you again for watching this very long coverage so far of things, and I'll see you guys in the next video.